You're, you know what? That's the thing. I have run charts for people that have come back, and I just can't get any readings. So what I do in your case is I'll either look at relatives, like, your parents or siblings or that kind of thing, or straight horary, like, phone calls or business meetings or you just asking me a question even. If you call me up and ask me a question and we do a horary, I'm going to at least still get a reading,
Okay.
you know? But, and then of course, there's going to be the general influence to your chart. There's going to be some influence, just not where I can predict you bing, 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 like before. I mean, the accuracy that I had for you before that experience is just not going to translate.
No, it was amazing. I know, but
Yeah. So, but I'm not going to be able to do that again with you because you're like off the grid, so to speak, you know? Now, can you guys see this chart at all that I've got on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's see if I can show them.
a lot better than last week too.
Yep, getting there, guys, on the technical end. Let's see. Oh, no, it pulled up the wrong one again. All right. Let me see if I can get to 2024. If not, I might have Ricky pull it up and help me with it. Oh, here we go. I think I got it. All right. Is that 24? Nope, still showing it at 29, but at least we got the right chart. All right, let me try this again. Input. Okay. Jody. 8, 1. Because I wanted to show you this because it also shows the elevation to a different level once we got this insurance money. And that's what you're looking for with significant increase in money is there a change in the level that the person's living at? That tells you it's significant, a significant increase in money. All right. Input. Let me go back to 24. I know we bought the house in August of 2024. Okay, try it again. So this is what I'm saying. When you're doing a chart for yourself or someone else, one of the first things you need to do is look at, and where is most of this money coming from, and that gives you an idea what house to look at. All right, let's see if I can share, screen share, and try that. Okay, are we back to the chart yet? Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. I've got it to read 2024, and I wanted to show you kind of how this shows up. Okay. So the outer wheel is my natal chart. The inner is my secondary progression, and the inner wheel is the transit. Now, this money that came in was life insurance money. He died. And then we transferred that money, like I had 30 days so I didn't get in trouble with Social Security. I had 30 days to buy a house with that and have it not count against me. So we boom, boom, shifted that money off into the house. So what I wanted to show you is you can see in the transits, the inner wheel, there is a Mars Jupiter there at, let's see, 18 Gemini and 23 Gemini. And the funny thing is shortly before this, just a couple months before this, I was looking at my chart and I saw this and I'm going, uh-oh, I think my ex-husband died. And because no one called me, no one alerted me, nothing. I literally saw the death in this chart and was like, oh, I think I need to go track down what's going on with him. So I started calling, and of course nobody was answering me. And then finally I managed to get a hold of somebody he was on the board of Pacifica Radio, and it's kind of like um, an advocate, activist kind of radio station, alternative news. And so I got a hold of people on the board and like trying to track down my ex-husband, and they're like, "Oh, he passed away." And the reason why they weren't telling me is his girlfriend was pretending to be me and trying to claim the life insurance. So I appeared on the scene, and there was a big brouhaha over, "No, I'm the ex-wife," and we managed to finally get this money. But if I hadn't known to look for him at this time from this chart, they said there was a 2-year statute, and I would have blown all this money. So to me, astrology is invaluable, or I wouldn't have gone looking for this guy, right? Anyway, but you can see
Amen.
that Mars Jupiter in the 8th, that was one of the things that alerted me, oh, someone's, possibly dying here. And the reason why it set it off is you can see, yes, my natal Venus, Uranus at 20 Leo in the 9th. Okay. So that's the Jupiter Uranus is what you call a windfall. Whenever there's Jupiter Uranus aspects, especially hard ones, that's the kind where you get the winning ticket or a big insurance check or just something that just appears out of the blue is Uranus, something completely out of left field. So I had this Jupiter Uranus, you can see with the transits. All right. And then if you look, you also see my natal Jupiter at 26 is being triggered by this Mars opposition. Mars is my first house ruler because I have the Scorpio rising. So that's what I mean about it involved me. Not like I'm dying, but, it was somebody that had an effect in my life for the money coming to me. And then you take another look around and you see I also have Venus in the 11th. That also was significant because, of course, his girlfriend was involved with this at the time, so I was dealing with her. And then we also see Saturn at 17 in the 4th, okay? And that also rules my 4th house. So I'm pretty sure that's a trine. Trines are also considered benefic, and they bring things to you. So if I'm looking at this Jupiter, Mars in my 8th house is bringing me money from death, and the trine to transit Saturn in the 4th, this is where I'm seeing, oh, I'm going to be buying a house with this money. And again, the Mars is tying it to me. And then we also see, though, Neptune 29 in the 5th. And it's aspecting my Mars in the 7th at 29. I considered that showing me that this tragedy that was affecting me at this time and my daughter was, my ex-husband, because he wasn't my 7th, my first marriage. So that was another thing. I was looking at all these things, before I knew what was going on, saying, I think he's passed, and I think I'm going to get this insurance money. Now, when I was disputing the insurance money at first, when I found out that she had actually started to try to claim this money, pretending to be me and everything, of course, I'm a little worried, am I going to win? Am I going to collect this money? But I'm seeing it promised basically in the chart, so I know it's going to prevail. So that got me through the difficult period when I was having to duke it out with the insurance company and her and the courts and all that I was going to win. I want to see if I can get...
I have a quick question, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. What the Neptune that you were talking about, was that natally, or was that transiting when it came to your Mars in the 7th?
Let me pull it up again.
Only
So,
because that to me would make a significant difference. Like for me, if I saw that transiting my natal Mars on the 7th, I would think that there would be some type of something going on, even deception with the first husband also.
Well, that was part of it because
Yes.
on the death
That's
certificate,
why I'm curious to know if it was the transiting Neptune, your natal Neptune.
it was transit Neptune.
Okay.
And with that transit Neptune, that's a very good point because she had literally lied on the death certificate saying his girlfriend had lied saying that he was never married, he had no children. So we had a forged fake death certificate we had to deal with. And it was part of what was going on. So that Neptune in the fifth, and it's interesting to me, I see that Neptune in the fifth, and she was lying, saying he didn't have any children because she was again trying to get in line for this insurance money by looking to be like the only, potential heir and denying that we existed, which of course I had to produce my daughter's birth certificate and our marriage certificate to the insurance company, like, no, we're here and, that money's ours. And then, of course, I don't know if she got any legal trouble because, of course, they couldn't tell me, but I would imagine lying and trying to make a false claim on insurance wasn't exactly, something they were happy about. But yeah, the Neptune in the fifth transit was certainly highlighting like the forgery, the lying, the deception, all that. And in the fifth, it was focused around the children. She was trying to deny my daughter her inheritance, basically.
Yeah, which shows to me that the natal chart, as we've talked, I've noticed over the course of time that the natal chart is really where it's at when it comes to everything, even though you had secondary progression, Jupiter, correct? Jupiter was a secondary progression in the eighth
Yeah,
that you knew that he was going to have, that was, and then there it is really the Neptune on the midheaven of somebody spiritually leaving their body. And then Mars squaring it on the seventh house of your partner and, the deception. I could see it very clearly from just that. I didn't even need to know the
yeah,
secondary
you can
progression.
absolutely see when you're looking at it now. You can see why I was looking at my own chart because I try to do that. It was funny. I try to do that every year around like Christmas, New Year's. I'll sit down and look at my chart. And this is essentially what I was looking at that year. And that's what alerted me. Oh, I better go track down my ex-husband. Was seeing what you're seeing like clear as a bell. Um, and I pretty much knew walking in we were going to have problems again because of that Neptune. Now, at first, until I knew the details, I thought, oh, well, this is just my daughter's grief, which of course she was devastated. What devastated her the most was that they had cremated him like almost immediately with her acting like she was the closest relative. So my daughter wasn't given any opportunity to say goodbye or see his ashes or nothing. So she was just devastated that anybody would do that. It was kind of a rude awakening for my daughter. Let me tell you about what people will do for money, which of course, that's what I think tragedies are a lot in the charts is we come out of that with some scars and lessons, you know? All right, let me see. Did I lose this back? I can't get the chart to print, but I can pull it back up on the screen. Oh, how do I get it to share again? All right, let's try this. All right, can you see the chart again yet? Do you see the chart?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's transit Neptune. It's at 29. And then it is tied into the money. I talked about before I use highlighters, which I still can't get this freaking webcam to work right to show you. So just like imagine it. When I sat down every New Year's, I do this. I pull out my highlighter and it reveals a pattern to me. For example, and it's always within 1 degree. I'll go from, say, the 18-degree Jupiter in the, what is it, 23, it looks like, in my eighth. And I connect everything up to it that's within 1 degree. And I go around, I see the Uranus there, the Neptune, transiting. So this tells me it's a windfall. It's unexpected. It's out of nowhere. Uranus also rules my fourth. So I knew that, I was going to turn around and buy a house with this. it was tied into my first house ruler, and it also impacted my progressed ascendant. So all these were telling me that I was going to prevail on the legal part of it, where I was having to fight to get this money, out of the insurance company. But it also did show the tragedy involved. And the fifth house is, of course, the impact on my daughter as his kid. But this is what I mean about you'll see some kind of significant jump in money when something big comes in like that, because it was $350,000. So there was like boom, suddenly we're in a whole other. I mean, I was scrimping by in a tiny little apartment, before that. So it was a pretty big jump.